to explain this.
I'll explain.
If we could give Tim our attention, please.
All right, so we had finding patterns of geometric shapes. We were to find the teaks that we believe fit in the patterns of geometric shapes. So we went back and we started looking, we went back to 6th grade, and so we had 5 teaks that were in the 6th grade, and we didn't write them out like our neighbors did.
That's fine. And I will allow you to say 6.4A because that is not a fractional thing, it's
Right.
just a label.
It's just a label this time. So our 6th grade teaks were 6.4A, 6.5A, 6.6A, 6.6B, and those 4 are all supporting teaks for 6.6C, which is a readiness teak.
Okay.
And they all had to deal with proportionality. And going from 6th grade, we came to 7th grade, we only found 2 teaks in 7th grade that the 6th grade teaks would be prerequisites for, because they also deal with proportionality. And that was 7.4A, which is a readiness teak, and 7.4C, which is a supporting teak. Oh, let me back up. So in 6th grade, these are all new skills. There's really nothing talked about proportionality below 6th grade. It's under a different strand. So in 6th grade, being proportionality would be new skills learned. So there would be no prerequisites. There may be some, but not as far as proportionality is concerned. And we said that at this level, they can still be a relational level because they do know about relations.
Okay.
Starting in 6th grade. So 7th grade, these 6th grade teaks would be prerequisites for these 2 teaks, and it's still at a relational level.
Which is level 0?
Which is level, in the scale, it's level 2.
Good, good. So that's by the end of 8th grade?
By the end of 8th grade.
Okay.
And then in 8th grade, the whole strand of proportionality, so 8.5A through 8.5I, are all of those are proportionalities, with 5A, B, C, E, F, and H all being support standards, D, G, and I being readiness standards.
Very well said.
And both the 6th grade and 7th grade teaks would be prerequisites for these 8th grade teaks. And in the 8th grade, it would still be a level 2 relational, and some students may be moving into the deductive. And actually, in 6th and 7th grade, they can be moving into deductive also. But 7th or 8th grade, they should really be getting towards that deductive.
Yeah, they should. Like he said proportional, or proportionality, or proportions many, many times. Proportionality is the big idea in middle school. It's the big idea. So if the K-5 teachers aren't getting these kids ready for proportional thinking, by the time they get to middle school, then that's going to cause issues for the middle school teachers. Okay? Proportionality is so critically important, and it does not develop automatically. You have to purposefully help kids develop proportional thinking. And you will read that in your Vanderbilt book. Thank you, Tim.
Questions?
Very nice. Okay, the group next to it.
Dr. Brown, you want us to go since we were the same?
All right, Bill.
I'm just thinking because we don't have much to add to what you guys said. We did find some 4th and 5th grade that we felt built into those 6th grade teaks, and that was 4.5B, which was dealt with input-output tables and numerical expressions. And 5.4D, which is a little different this year for 5th grade. We are recognizing whether the pattern in the table is additive or multiplicative. And so they're trying to differentiate between additive patterns and multiplicative patterns.
See, proportionality is a multiplicative pattern. The patterns that y'all worked on, those 8 patterns here, almost all of them had a plus or a minus something. So were they proportional or not?
None.
Not. If there's anything added or subtracted, that is not a proportional relationship. Okay? So, okay, next group. Who's the spokesperson? Since you all are so anxious.
Okay. Okay, we did the diagonals,
Diagonals.
and all the teaks listed here on the top, 2.9 all the way down to 5.5 are the prerequisite ones, the knowledge we looked through, we found. And there may have been some others, but we think we got most of them.
Had you had more time?
Yeah, if we had more time, we would have been able to find maybe more, but those are what they needed to know before they could even try to do some of these things. And these are the 2 TEKs that we thought fit that activity.
Okay.
It was G5B and G10A. We didn't get to write
GB,
G5B.
is that a G or a 6?
G, it stands for
It's a G.
geometry.
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 Okay, good, geometry.
And it was talking about bisections, which is what we did. And then G10 is,
Yes, really seems to hit it. To
Yeah.
identify the shapes of 2D, cross sections of prisms, pyramids, cylinders, cones. That's really what that activity we were doing was about, we felt.
Okay, that's not cross sections, because those are 3D shapes, but that diagonals of quadrilaterals is hit very heavily in high school geometry. It is, and the relationships between them. So I'm looking at 2.9A, the length, find the length of objects using concrete models for standard units of length. That is important for that, because they had to measure the diagonals. They had to measure the diagonals, so they did a good job of going back and picking up. I'm assuming there are things in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade that you just didn't get to?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just didn't
we
get to
didn't
write
have
them out.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't want
Okay.
to present blank.
Just didn't have time. Good job. Where do you think that activity fell in your geometric thought? 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4?
But explain.
If it was in high school, it would be
Is it
3.
visual?
Oh,
Descriptive, relational,
I guess it would be
deductive?
like.
I would say relational to deductive,
Yeah.
Okay, why?
because you're comparing, like when we compared the different diagonals, but we were also deductive in some other things that we did.
Yes.
Some other
I
things.
agree.
So if I gave you some descriptions of how diagonals related to each other, you could tell me the shape. You could
Yes.
deduce the shape.
Oh, yes, that's those other things.
That's what
I
you
was
were
talking
saying. Yes. I heard you say that in your head.
Yes.
Okay. Last group.
Are you sure?
Go ahead. I can read her mind.
We're on the same
I'm sorry if
level.
y'all can't, but I can. Last group. Carol Martin.
Hi, we did the toothpick perimeter. So we drew our line, we thought we were at the 5th grade level, and that the teeth we were on was 5.4C, which is generating numeric patterns in our table. So we figured our foundational stuff, what we needed in order to be at our level, started at 1st grade. 1st grade 1.8A was collect and sort and organize data. So we can't do anything without being able to do that. Then our next thing was finding lengths and modeling. So there was our 2nd grade. 3rd grade, 3.5B took us into representing real world models. And then 4.5B and 4.5C were in and out functions as well as modeling formulas.
In and
So
out
all
functions are in 4th grade.
So we just figured all of these were bounding and they kind of all supported it.
Nicely done.
I mean, it doesn't introduce it as X until like you get into the algebra,
Yeah.
It doesn't use the term
the
of
term
X
F of X.
until algebra.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can be an awesome teacher and use it.
But can you mention it? I mean,
I
can you
don't
talk
see why
about it? I
not.
mean, it's like, yeah.
I
Well,
don't
that's like
see
the
why
in and out tables. I mean, can you mention the input, output
Yeah.
instead of in and out? And just start planting those seeds,
Yeah.
that vocabulary term?
Absolutely.
And what about domain and range? When do you start mentioning?
When you start mentioning graphing.
Yeah, that's a graphing thing. So if you're graphing, you can't talk about domain and range and not expect them to have
Right.
mastery.
Okay.
Yeah. Jane?
I just had an aha
Yes, sir.
moment. When you do the standard, the assessment standards, readiness and supporting all those, you don't see those for 3rd grade. Is that because of the testing at
Yes.
3rd? Okay.
Yes, they don't test.
So I was wondering because 2nd grade teachers, they wouldn't know what I was talking about when I say, okay.
However, you could have, the secondary teachers could do a vertical piece. And you could actually get those 2nd grade and 1st grade teams underneath those vertical readiness standards for the grades 3, 4, and 5.
I got you.
Which is why we did this today.
Okay.
To kind of guide you into doing this vertical alignment piece with your teachers. Some of you are in leadership roles and you probably already do this. Some of you may not be in leadership roles, but now you would want to get with your team and say, look, we need to do this because I need to know what they know before they get to me, and you need to know what, I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna say it and all of that. So that was one reason for us to do this like this. And then the other was to tie to the geometric levels of thought.
So I think a lot of times is whenever you think about your team, I mean, it's like our school, it's a 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. They don't ever let us, maybe
Go to fifth.
right, like maybe one of the staff development days actually, get together with the math from K through 12 and do something like this.
That's very
There's a
powerful.
lot of
I've done that
this
many
in
times.
6th that we don't teach in 5th. I
Right.
can tell you that.
Absolutely.
And I think as far as, sharing, as far as the vocabulary, making sure they're using, proper vocabulary is huge also, because it's another.
Stage, yeah.
Yes.
So administrators that are here.
They're not here this week. Campus leadership sometimes, but no administrators. So Sherry, just real quickly, what you and Bill were doing on your planning?
So we have, we adopted McGraw-Hill for math and science. So we went through and he has his scope and sequence and I have mine. So now we're in the process of going through and looking to see, does something need to be taught in math before, he hits it in science, and making notes in our scope and sequence. For example, the way the pneumatics are changing, they assume the kids know how to solve one-step equations. So when you look at the textbook, it's not covered in there. So it's something I need to add in because they need to know how to solve one-step equations, or at least be reminded of it because it's not like they did it all summer. Before he goes into balancing equations, which in science, 8th grade, that's where kind of the first 6 weeks, right? So we're going through now and looking at for 8th grade, scientific notation is going to be hit first 6 weeks, kind of the way the new textbook's set up. If we follow it, so it's the first few weeks. And scientific notation in science isn't hit until 3rd, 4th, 6 weeks. But that would be okay because that's something that we could go back and re-hit it in the science classroom. So that's where we're in the process right now of going through and doing that.
So you don't have to go through the book page by page, as that's what you can do. But you don't have to go through other books page by page. You can move things around, but keep in mind if they have a spiraling review, that you have to kind of watch those problems and make sure you're not giving them problems that you really haven't hit yet because you skipped over something to go back to. Good job, people, and the writing and reading and everything else, ladies, are here. So if you'll put your math stuff away, please, and put your stuff back in the baskets just to kind of tidy
And
it up.
if you need to take a 2-minute break, go
Yes.
for it.
Okay.
Because we are going to